Animal-based games can be largely divided into two categories: those where we play as adorable furry creature with whiskers and a tail, cats obviously, and everything else. Additionally, we can distinguish simulator where animals behave more or less realistically in their natural habitat, and game featuring atmospheric animals such as the Cat Quest series and the Chicken Police duology. From this perspective, Spirit of the North sits somewhere in the middle. We play as a fox running quite realistically through a forest, fields and mountains, but behaving like humans in typical adventure games. This feeling becomes even more pronounced in the second installment, The Fox and the Spirit of the North. Fox games are quite popular, probably because in fairy tales and mythology they are considered intelligent, cunning, and uniquely characteristic animals that people can easily relate to. The first three, Super Lucky Tail, Endling, Tunic, there are many examples spanning different genres from platformers to survival games, released in 2019. Spirit of the North was a blend of walking simulator, platformer, and an open-world adventure. This world is quite picturesque. Inspired by Iceland nature and the story as the developers, there were only two of them, claimed draws from Scandinavian myth. However, which specific myth remain unclear. Spirit of the North asks player to guess what it's about and what actually happened. Overall, the project was adhesive, the game was very short, jumping felt clunky, and the world seems empty, and puzzles repeat too often. However, the game had unbeatable charm and atmosphere, with genuinely beautiful moments that combined with an unhurried pace, create a therapeutic effect. Many players fell in love with it, and the sequel will likely over more hearts. True, the time around it's not without its own issues. In Spirit of the North 2, we once again play as a red fox, though not an ordinary one. She can communicate with spirits and periodically takes on eternal form that help solve puzzles and overcome very material obstacles. In the first game, we traveled with the spirit of another fox, primarily finding the corpse of priests, bringing them stuff and other items, thereby freeing them and granting them a peace. In the second installment, a raven accompanies our fox. Together they must reach the spirit of a certain shaman, defeat and cleanse him. But first they need to find and defeat similarly corrupted animals guardians, wolves, bears, deers and others. The settings and genre remain the same. We freely explore the world, jump across rocks and trees, collect important items and solve puzzles. All of this unfolds against Scandinavian landscapes that can be simply described as beautiful. They feel fantastic, eternal and somewhat similar. Above all of this, snow-covered fields, green forests, wind-swept mountains, ancient temples and shores, where ice waters crash against the remains of Vikings' longship, a blood-red make smoke sprayed, just as in the first game. It rises from whatever the source of the local evil, the red corruption, currency resides. We deal with an evil sources and other tasks much the same way as before, but numerous new details frame and deepen the familiar adventure puzzle platform format. The game's scale has grown 2 to 3 times larger. There's a character progression, trading and boss battles. The world exploring process has become more interesting too. Through our journey, we must collect crystals that serve as currency and are needed to activate local towers, obelisks that reveal all points of interest in the surrounding area. Crystals can be found not only in jars, but also in cleverly hidden chests. These chests also yield figures that provide skill points. The same figurines drop from corrupted ancient trees, which need to be revived by activating 3 smaller trees with special lights. These lights, used in solving most puzzles, can be found by looking around carefully or solving small challenges, jumping and catching them. You will climb everywhere to guide this light, Finally, you can find special wounds in chests or buy them from a raccoon vendor with crystals. Their runes equip both the fox and raven, providing improvements, reducing red corruption damage, or allowing the tail to activate altars with other runes, which again comes into play when solving puzzles. The value of crystals cannot be overstated, and when you die you lose your entire supply and must return to your own grave to recover them. As for the RPG system, progression here is simple but useful. It allows you to increase the fox health, reduce fall damage, raise maximum crystal capacity, and similar improvements. We can also customize the fox appearance at almost any time, changing eye color and fur pattern. All these details certainly add weight, depth and variety through the game, but the core remains the same: exploration, puzzle solving, and acquisition abilities that help solve riddles or unlock new movement methods. You can return to a completed location both during the main playthrough and afterward to clear all question marks, though this isn't critically important. The abilities themselves are familiar. Besides their aforementioned spirit transformation, we learn to fly on air, current, and geysers. Now the raven carries the fox, allowing for gliding and soaring. Later, after finding an important story road, we can fly on geysers without losing stamina. The puzzles, like the original, aren't particularly challenging. They mainly involve finding important items, staff, axe, shield, etc. that need to be carried somewhere in your mouth and placed to open or activate something, or need to collect lights and find figures to place on pedestals. Occasionally we place heavy objects on pressure plates and drag boxes to jump somewhere, the classic toolkit. There are exceptions, like quickly jumping across lava platforms while switching between materials and ghost forms, but these are exactly that, exceptions. Both battles are different. Our fox can directly attack the guardian animals, so she employs her signature cunning, luring them into traps, running around to exhaust them, and similar tactics. For example, she might wait for a giant bird, cat, or cloud to appear in the opening, then immediately pull a lever to trap it. I wouldn't criticize the developer for the simplicity of these challenges. This is a game about a meditative exploration and contemplating the beauty and harshness of the world. Yes, this exploration might seem somewhat boring. You often have to run somewhere for a long time without clear direction about what needs to be done. And if you don't have enough crystals to activate an obelisk, nothing will show up on your map. On the other hand, many players prefer such blind exploration, and the word density of interesting points has increased. Everywhere you can find something intriguing: waterfalls, abandoned templates, homesteads, or vacant traders' dens. Sometimes it's unclear how to open a door or climb to this window, but that makes it more interesting. The process itself has become more enjoyable. Jumping in the sequel is much more convenient. Now when aiming at the platform ledge at the other object, a marker appears, guaranteeing that pressing the button will land the fox exactly there. Finally, Spirit of the North 2 includes text through the journey. We find records about the cursed shaman, how he started a war against other tribes, about our fox and her mission. There are more lore here. The story has become more cohesive and motivating to continue playing rather than getting bored. For me, the obstacles weren't boredom. It wasn't boring at all, or lack of clear direction, but bugs. Sometimes a quest staff would mysteriously disappear after my fox lay down to rest within her teeth, or the game would place a grave with crystals right in the pit I fell into the way to escape. Despite these flaws, Spirit of the North 2 left me with a very positive impression. From a laconic walking game, it has transformed into extensive adventure with multiple mechanics and cohesive, understandable story. It remains niche and specific, but I think this speciality hasn't lost any fans. So to sum up all of this, Prose is a world rich with points of interest that harsh and beautiful and begs to be explored. Fairly diverse gameplay combining adventure, platforming, RPG elements and more. The game looks and sounds incredibly atmospheric, and cons its controls still can't be called perfect. Bugs: some players might find the lack of the clear direction and puzzle variety frustrating. So, Thank you for watching. Please try it by yourself.